The wind howled like a banshee. Rain lashed against the windows of Blackwood Manor. A fierce storm raged outside, isolating the imposing Gothic mansion from the mainland. Blackwood Manor stood on a solitary island off the coast of England. Its silhouette, stark against the stormy sky, was a menacing spectacle. The manor's only connection to the outside world was the old stone pier. It jutted out into the churning sea, almost swallowed by the waves. Its usual nightly ferry service was cancelled due to the tempestuous weather. Blackwood Manor and its inhabitants were utterly cut off. Inside, a fire crackled in the grand hearth of the main hall. Its warm glow did little to dispel the palpable sense of unease that hung in the air. The storm seemed to mirror the turmoil brewing within the hearts of those gathered. Lady Evelyn Grey, a young woman of sharp intellect and independent spirit, stared out at the storm. She was a guest at Blackwood Manor, invited by its master, the enigmatic Lord Reginald Blackwood. Lord Blackwood was known for his eccentricities and his penchant for hosting lavish gatherings. Tonight was no different. A diverse group had assembled at the manor. There was Lady Margaret, Lord Blackwood's distant cousin, her face a mask of carefully concealed emotions. Colonel Henry Fitzroy, a war veteran with haunted eyes, sat in a corner nursing a drink. Miss Beatrice Turner, a renowned novelist, observed the scene with keen interest, her notepad ever at hand. And then there was Edward, Lord Blackwood's loyal but nervous private secretary, his gaze darting around the room. "Ah, Lady Evelyn, I trust you are finding the evening intriguing."
Indeed, Evelyn, the storm adds a certain atmosphere, doesn't it?
Quite the gathering, wouldn't you say, Miss Turner?
Yes, Colonel Fitzroy, it certainly is. One could almost write a novel about it.
If you'll excuse me, I need to check on something.
The guests mingled, making polite conversation that did little to disguise the underlying tension. The storm outside seemed to amplify the unspoken anxieties within the manor. As the grandfather clock in the hall chimed midnight, a hush fell over the room. The storm outside reached its crescendo, mimicking the sudden silence within. Lord Blackwood, who had been uncharacteristically absent all evening, was nowhere to be seen.
Ladies and gentlemen, Lord Blackwood wishes to see everyone in his study.
One by one, the guests made their way to the study, their faces etched with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension. The study was Lord Blackwood's sanctuary, a room filled with books, artifacts, and an air of mystery. The fire had died down to embers, casting long, dancing shadows across the room.
Tentatively, my lord?
Edward knocked tentatively on the heavy oak door, but there was no response. His hand hesitated on the doorknob. He glanced nervously at the assembled guests, then slowly turned the handle. The study door creaked open, revealing a scene that sent a collective gasp through the guests. Lord Blackwood lay slumped over his large mahogany desk, his lifeless eyes staring into oblivion. A single bullet wound marred his temple. A pool of blood stained the documents scattered on the desk.
Screaming, "Oh my God!"
Panic seized the room. Lady Margaret screamed, her hand flying to her throat. Miss Turner, ever the observer, stood frozen, her eyes wide with shock.
Checking for a pulse. He's gone.
Colonel Fitzroy, his face pale but composed, moved swiftly to check for a pulse, but it was too late. Lord Blackwood was gone. Edward, his face ashen, stumbled back, knocking over a silver inkwell. It rolled across the desk, leaving a trail of ink that ended at a piece of parchment paper. On the paper, scrawled in elegant handwriting, were the chilling words, "In darkness, all secrets are revealed."